don't have any money. I don't have any money, so I can't start my business yet. Hello, brilliant dreamer, and welcome back to another episode of the Dream Lab with Dr. V, your dreamer's coach. I am here for the new, the aspiring, and the expanding entrepreneurs, helping you build entrepreneurial success. So, welcome back to anyone that has been here before. Thank you for coming back. And if you are new, then welcome for the first time. If you like what you see, I would love for you to go ahead and subscribe to this page because I am dropping all of the entrepreneurial gems, all right? And so don't miss out. Make sure that you subscribe, but not only that, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you know every single time that I drop a new video. All right. So let's go ahead and get started today. So this is for the entrepreneurial dreamer who is saying, I am ready. I want to start my business. However, the one thing that is keeping me from being able to take that step is that I don't have any money. I don't have any money, so I can't start my business yet. And maybe you have been saying this for the last few months. Maybe you've been saying this for the past year. Maybe you've been saying this for the past few years. But let me tell you, it's time for you to get started. So today I am going to give you the way to go ahead and get started. Now, of course, as dreamers, we are visionaries. We see this big old dream of how we want this thing to look, right? What it is going to look like. It is going to be so big. It is going to be so grand. It is going to be so beautiful. And yes, I want all of that for you. I want all of that for me, right? Like that's what we see because that's what God has shown us that we can have. But one thing that is very important is to know that sometimes that big vision that you see, that is not your starting point. That is where you're moving to. And I have a whole nother thing about vision and about that, because one thing you will always hear me say is what you think is the big vision, God is going to expand that to even greater. But sometimes that big vision that you see right now, it is not the starting point. There is somewhere else for you to start to be able to grow to that. And let me tell you, you will get there. Experience. I know. I've been there. I've done it. So I know that it's going to work. But sometimes you got to start with what you have. You have to start with what you already have. And then you can grow and you can expand it. If we are sitting and we are waiting, and waiting for something different to happen before we step out, sometimes we may be waiting forever. We may not ever get to that big vision that God has showed us because we are just waiting. So, I want you to ask yourself one thing right now. I want you to ask yourself, what is going to happen? What is going to change in the next month or in the next year or so that is going to help me to get the money that I need to start my business? I'll wait. I'll wait a moment. What is going to be that thing that happens? Am I just waiting for something to happen? Because more than likely, if that is the case, then you are likely to be in that same position in another month, in another 6 months, in another year, even another 5 years, because you're waiting on something to happen when you could go ahead and get started and you can bring that success and you can bring that wealth to yourself from starting your business. And so today, I want you to start thinking differently. I want you to start thinking in the way of, how can I just use what I already have? How can I use what I already have? What do I already have that I can go ahead and start generating income? I can step out and I can share what I already have with others to be able to get to the next point, to build and build and build. So what do you already have? That is the question of the day. So let's look at some examples, right? And so I'll give you, let's start with me. Let's start with me. So 10 years ago, I started my first business. It was a mental health therapy practice, which is still running and thriving today. And when I started my business, I didn't have a location. I, knew I wasn't going to, I just didn't. I didn't have that. Now, I'm a therapist with no location. Where am I going to see the clients, right? But what I did have, I had a car. I could put gas in my car to be able to travel from place to place, from client house to client house, because I was no stranger to seeing clients either in the community or their homes. So, hey, let me jump in my car and let me go to this client's house, or let me meet them at this place and meet with them and give them a therapy session. And that's how I operated for about the first 2 months of my business, because I did not have an office. I did not have a space. But hey, they had a house. I had a car to get to their house. So I was in business. We were doing therapy. And that got me to a place where then I had enough money. I was generating enough income to be able to go and get a space, to get an office that my clients could come to and see me. Now, of course, certain things don't work for everyone. Of course, certain clients maybe didn't want me to come to their house, but there were certainly clients that did. So it's the same with whatever you have. Some things might not work for certain clients, but there are people that want what you have and they're willing to take it based on how you're able to give it to them at the time. Okay. And so that is how I started with what I had. So let's say, for instance, there is a baker, okay, and maybe you're a baker and you want to have a bakery. You want people to come in and to that you want them to come in and see all of the treats and to drool all over these, like, oh my gosh, I want that, right? And right now you don't have the money to be able to start your bakery, but can you bake? Can you bake? Do you have a stove, ma'am or sir? Do you have the ingredients that you need to be able to mix up the batter for that cake or those cupcakes or whatever it is? And then, do you have a car? Do you have a car? Because maybe you're going to deliver to your clients or your customers. Or maybe you don't mind them coming to you. Or maybe you don't mind shipping their orders out. You're already baking anyway. You're already giving it to people for free anyway. So you might as well sell it. You might as well start your business and sell what you have. All right? And so let's say you are a tax accountant, right? And you do taxes, and maybe that's what you've been doing, working for a company, but you're like, now I want to go do it on my own, but I got to stay at this company because I don't have the money to start my own. Do you know how to do taxes? do you probably have the software, right? Because you've probably done your own taxes, your mother's taxes, your brother's taxes, your auntie's taxes, your best friend's taxes, right? So you probably have the software. So now all you need is the client. So you might not be able to invite them into a space, but maybe you can help them with their taxes virtually. Or maybe you can go to their homes. Or you can meet them somewhere in the community. The library, maybe. What you think? What you think? Maybe you want to have a dog grooming business, right? But you don't have the place to groom the dogs. So maybe you don't start with necessarily dog grooming, or maybe you can. Maybe you can go to your customer's house. You can have a mobile dog grooming service, and you can go to their house and you can groom their dogs in their house. Or maybe, you're like, okay, well, I don't have everything else I need, or, maybe. Maybe you can start doing other things with pets. Maybe you can do something where you're teaching owners how to groom their own dogs, and you can do that virtually. So you're teaching them how to groom their animals, groom their pets without, the pets having anxiety. Some pets, they don't like the water and things like that. And maybe you just have the skill to be able to do that, and the pets are just fine. And you could teach that. You could do virtual classes where you teach owners how to do that. Or you could go to their homes and you can teach them how to do that. Or maybe you're like, okay, maybe I don't want to go that route, but hey, I love animals, I love pets, so maybe I'll go be a dog walker. Because there are some people that don't like walking their dogs in the cold, in the rain. So I'll start off making money that way to be able to save up for my center to be able to groom pets. And now we are in such an age where there are so many things that can be done virtually. When I started therapy 10 years ago, when I started my therapy practice, I, virtual therapy, it really wasn't a thing, right? But now there are so many things that that can be done virtually, especially post-pandemic. So during the pandemic, everything almost went virtual, right? So therapists, now we had that ability to see our clients via Zoom or whatever application that we could be able to still be face to face with them. So there are so many different things that you can do now where maybe you don't have the place, maybe you don't have a whole lot of money, to be able to put into different things, even equipment. I get that. It might not even be a space. It might be, I don't have the equipment for this particular thing. Well, what can you do? You can still start off some way. It might be where you're teaching others. You're teaching others to do something. There's a whole lot of money in coaching. There's a whole lot of money in teaching. So you could be teaching others how to do what you know. You could teach classes. You could give trainings, seminars. And all of that can be done virtually. And so you don't have to have money. You don't have to start with that great, expansive, big vision. Yeah, I want you to get there. But the way to get there is to start moving. Is to start moving towards that. So you don't have to have everything all together. You don't have to have all of the funds All you have to do is show that you're willing to start with what you have, that you're willing to start with the little that you have. Because if you are faithful with little, then God is going to bless you with much. He's going to expand what you have. He's going to take your little and he's going to blow it up. You have to be showing that you're willing to step out. You're going to have to show that, okay, I got enough faith to start with what I have. And so I want you to go ahead and start. I want you to go ahead and sit down and think about, well, I don't have a lot of money, but this is what I have. I've already been doing this thing, and I've been selling this for free. I've been talking to people about this forever. What is that thing that's connected with that big vision that maybe it's not the final destination, but it's a good start? So I hope that this has been helpful. Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you have been kind of procrastinating because you feel like I just don't have the money, but that this video has given you the motivation to say, you know what? I don't have the money, but I got something and I'm willing to go ahead and step out with that. So I hope that this has been helpful. Of course, in 2024, we're doing no gatekeeping. So if you know someone else that this could be helpful for, go ahead and share this out with them. If you've stayed here to the end, I know that you liked the video, so go ahead and give your girl a thumbs up. And if you've been back a few times and you've just kind of been like, okay, I'm not sure, but you've been back a few times, yeah, I think you like what I got to say. So go ahead and subscribe. And until next time, keep on dreaming.